Loneliness doesn't start when a marriage ends. It starts long before, my friend. You're still having conversations, you're still living in the same house, still doing life together, but something feels off, distant, disconnected. Like you're sitting right next to someone and somehow still feel all by yourself. You can feel alone long before anything actually ends. And it's not loud. That's what makes it so confusing. It's quiet, it's subtle, it shows up in small moments. And if we haven't met before, I'm Andrea Daly. I'm a life coach, and I work with women who are navigating major life transitions like divorce, empty nest, starting over. And a lot of those transitions don't start with a big moment, they start right here. I remember in my marriage noticing when we got on like different paths. For the longest time, it was like this, but we were still kind of heading in the same direction. And then something happened. I felt like I was still doing what we usually did. And then he started going this way. He started getting different goals, different desires, different aspirations. And there's nothing wrong with wanting different, but it was the fact none of them involved me. They didn't include me. It felt like we were married, living single. It's the way the conversation started to feel surface level, the way you stop sharing certain thoughts because it feels like they don't really land. I mean, does he even really care, anyways, to know what I'm thinking? The way you go through your day and realize you didn't truly feel seen, not even once. Do I even matter? And that's a question. It goes deeper than we think because it's not just about the relationship. It's about whether you feel like you matter at all in your own life. You don't just suddenly think one day, I just don't matter anymore. It happens more quietly than that. You feel less seen, less considered, less prioritized. Like your role still matters, but you don't. Like what you do for everyone else still counts, but who you are doesn't land the same way anymore. The disconnection doesn't start with a big moment. It starts quietly. And then you start questioning yourself. Am I overthinking this? Is this just a phase? I remember the roller coaster of marriage. We had our ups and then we'd have our downs. And sometimes the ups lasted a while and the downs were quick, and other times the downs lasted for a long time. And I remember feeling like this is just what a long term marriage ends up feeling like. But then when the down kicks in, you're going, is this just it? I remember asking myself, is this just what being with the same person for this many years ends up like? I started reading, trying to understand, and the psychologist in me knew that sometimes couples can start to feel more like companions over time. But in my marriage, I didn't feel like we were companions. I felt like we were becoming strangers. There's a moment where you stop brushing it off, where something inside you says, no, this isn't what I thought it would feel like. This is the moment most women feel the disconnection and quietly ignore it. Because you know what? From the outside, everything might still look fine. You might even still have people coming up to you going, you guys are such a great couple. There's no big event to point to, no clear reason to explain it, which makes it even harder to talk about. I remember thinking, how do you even explain feeling alone when nothing on the outside is obviously wrong, but it still feels like something's wrong? I was surrounded by a ton of kids all day long, yet on the inside, still just feeling alone. It wasn't loud, it wasn't clear, but I wasn't being loved in the way I needed. And over time, I started to realize I didn't really feel like I mattered, not as a woman, just as the person who kept the home running and taking care of the kids. And because of that, I started second guessing myself. thinking maybe I just didn't have enough gratitude and maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm being selfish for wanting more. And the hardest part, it happened so gradually that it just became my new normal and I accepted it. And life just kept going. You keep going. You stay busy. You focus on the kids. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. But that feeling doesn't go away. It just sits there quietly, building isolation and resentment. Because when you don't feel like you matter, something in you starts to shut down, not all at once, but slowly. You're there, but you're not really seen. You're giving, but not really felt. And over time, you start to realize something important. It's not just a bad day, it's not just a phase. Something in your marriage has shifted, and it's not shifting back. For me, I didn't have a big moment. It was like this slow realization. It felt like our relationship had been on the downward stretch, like the roller coaster that just kept going down, and it stayed down way longer than it had before. And I kept thinking initially, it's going to come back up. It's going to come back up. I just need to do the right thing to make it come back up. I tried everything on my own and even trying to get us to do things together. But something in me started to realize this wasn't turning back around. And I remember having a real honest moment where I looked at the man I was married to and I actually felt scared of the idea of growing old with him. And that's when it really hit me. This wasn't just a phase, something had changed. And that realization, it's uncomfortable because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So, if you've ever had that moment where you're in your marriage and you feel alone, my friend, you're not the only one, and you're not imagining it. Sometimes the hardest part is simply recognizing that something has changed. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I share conversations like this every week to help women navigate life transitions with more clarity, confidence, and courage.